up, everyone? Today's another tour of Baltimore streets, narrated by me. So today we're going to start down in Dundalk, Maryland, which is just outside the city line to the southeast. It's known for being a big shipping hub that's down where the port is, so that's one of its claims to fame. And then from there we're going to head up Dundalk Avenue, heading northwest, and we're going to pass through Greektown. And then from there, we're going to head west into the city, further into the city, into Canton. And then that's where the tour is going to end. So, like I said, right now we're starting down in Dundalk. This right here we're about to dump onto Dundalk Avenue as one of the main intersections in Dundalk. And we're going to, like I said, be heading northwest. Dundalk, besides its shipping history, it's got a pretty diverse culture. It's because it's in the county. You got some of the more county vibe, but then it's close to the city, so you got the city vibe. It's an interesting place, interesting people, and it's faced some challenges. It's like a lot of places around the city of Baltimore. It's got problems with drugs and there's some rougher parts of Dundalk, but in general, it's an interesting place. We're continuing northwest on Dundalk Avenue here, and before too long, we're gonna get up. Like I said, it's known for it's kind of thought of as one of the blue collar, working man parts of town. And in a little bit, we're gonna be passing some old Union buildings that are abandoned, and that's sort of a emblematic of what's gone on in Dundalk over the years as industries kind of left the area. There's still some industry. The port's still there, and the port's still thriving, but there isn't as much work. There isn't as much manufacturing in this area, and because of that, unfortunately, things like homelessness and drugs are more of an issue than they used to be. But despite that, there's, like I said, still an interesting neighborhood with strong community and that sort of thing. Now, once we get under this bridge, this overpass, that's up on the left-hand side is where you'll see the there's some old abandoned buildings that are, I think one of them's like I don't know, shipbuilders or ironworkers or stevedores or whatever it is. But it's, like I said, it's sort of symbolic of the area and what's going on, and how there's not really quite as much industry as there used to be. There's one and there's the other. What is it? Steel workers and anyways, so there has been some industry coming back, most of it related to shipping and logistics and things like that. Down in further south and east of where we are right now is the old Sparrow Point site, which has been transformed over the last 10 years or so into a logistics hub called Trade Point Atlantic. So that's bringing jobs back, but it's still nothing like it used to be in terms of heavy manufacturing and industry. So now we just turned onto Eastern Avenue. We're getting near the neighborhood of Bayview by Johns Hopkins Bayview. To the left is a brand new development called Yard 56, and this was on the site of the old Pemco plant, which was a heavy industrial site that had been abandoned for a long time, and it had caught on fire a bunch of times since it had been abandoned. So it was a real eyesore. So all this new development on the left-hand side is kind of the new version of what used to be there. Some people are happy about it. Because of new jobs and new places for people in the area to go, but some people are sad to see the old industry go to make way for a Chipotle and some pretty run-of-the-mill looking apartment buildings. But progress is progress, so I think you gotta be happy about getting rid of abandoned buildings and things like that. So now we're passing. You can't see it in this part of the video, but on the right hand side is Johns Hopkins Bayview, which is a big hospital, massive campus, and now we're heading into Greektown. Greektown, as its name would indicate, used to have a very heavy heavy Greek population. It's changed a lot in the last 20 years. Now it's much more Hispanic than it is Greek, but it's still a cool place with lots of converging cultures, different, lots of good food, and lots of interesting backgrounds because of the different cultures that are there. It's there's been a lot of building. This is the main drag going through Eastern Avenue. So this looks like about what it used to, but as you go further north or further south in Greektown, you'll notice quite a bit of new, lots of row houses, lots of townhomes, things like that. That building off to the left is the Crown Cork and Steel site. That was an old industrial site it's mostly abandoned, or I think there's some parts of it still being used for warehousing and storage and things like that, but I think it's largely abandoned. There's been some redevelopment plans discussed, but nothing that I've heard that's real concrete, nothing that's going to happen in the immediate future anyways. Now we're coming up on the edge of sort of Canton, Bruis Hill area. We're about to make a left. So by making this left, now we're heading straight south towards the water. And as you can see off in the distance to the left, there's the backside of that Crown Cork and Steel site. These are all brand new row houses. This strip that we're looking at between Greektown and Canton is being heavily built because Canton's one of the nicer areas of the city, and this area was always kind of traditionally industrial. So there's a lot of potential for building without having to worry about moving people out of the way or anything like that. It's just so a lot of underutilized industrial sites. So perfect for developers looking to kind of expand the borders of Canton and Bruis Hill. We're still headed south on Haven Street. Again, you can see more sites that are future building sites. You can see a thriving beach volleyball scene. This is definitely a more yuppie-ish upper middle class part of town than some of the previous places that we were at. Like I said, more construction sites that are getting started. A lot of this that you'll see coming up, all these new Starbucks, and there's a new relatively new Target, and all these buildings are this used to be heavy industry, and a lot of it was abandoned up until 10 or 15 years ago. So this is all new in the last 10 years. Lots of stores and Chick-fil-A's and anything that a yuppie could possibly want. But it's a nice area. It's there's a lot of good things going for it, a lot of positive momentum from the building standpoint. So now this right-hand turn that we just made is onto Boston Street, which is the main waterfront drive in the Canton neighborhood. You'll see the water off in the distance to the left as we get a little bit further up on the other side of that Care First building. Right there in front of the Care First building, you'll see a blue building that's Merit is one of the popular gyms, and they have a pretty snazzy place. They have a rooftop pool where there's sort of a party scene, and that's kind of a interesting combination of gyms and parties. So, but now we're getting up again. This is Boston Street in Canton, headed towards downtown, and you'll start to see the water off to the left. There's Canton Waterfront Park. Nice views of the ships and the water, and you can see Fort McHenry off in the distance. And this is definitely one of the more desirable pricier parts of town to live in. We're gonna start coming up on some nicer condos and expensive waterfront properties and things like that. And as this drive ends, we're getting towards the end of it. I'm going to cut it off before we get to Fells Point, but basically Boston Street continues northwest towards downtown, more passing more waterfront stuff, more higher end condos and parks and waterfront things and that kind of stuff. So we're passing all of that, and like I said, that's where I'm going to end this video. I thought this drive from Dundalk to Greektown to Canton was interesting, just because of the convergence of different cultures and how it's none of it is necessarily like, when people think Baltimore, they don't really think of these parts of it, but they're like three very different parts, all relatively close to each other and all very different from what a lot of people think of when they think Baltimore. So thought this was a interesting drive to discuss, and I'm going to leave it there. Now, drive finally ends at Boston Street near, where are we near? We're near Boston Street and Hudson Street. This is getting towards the edge of Canton before the next neighborhood over is Upper Fells Point and then Fells Point. So that's where this one leaves off, edge of Canton. Thanks for watching. Let me know what the next neighborhoods, streets, blocks you want to see are. See ya.